Number 25, an airplane took off from the runway and reached an altitude of 1,200 feet after it had flown a distance of 6,000 feet. If the airplane travels at a speed of 306 feet per second, which set of parametric equations model this airplane's rotation? All right, there are two different sets you could do of way to solve this problem. When you look at the diagram, what does it look like? Okay, there's more of you than just one. What type of problem does it look like when you look at it? It looks like a triangle. However, it says parametric as well. So we can solve it one of two ways. Okay, the first one I'm going to do is off of visual. What are we supposed to find? The X and Y. Okay, they gave us 6,000 feet, 12,000 feet. Now that's how the plane's actually moving over time. So what we could do is define this equation. This is like the simplified version of, like, if I broke these down to smaller values, it'll be a ratio. Now, what is the ratio between this is the Y and this is the X? What is that ratio if you divide it out, like if you simplified it? Well, you can simplify it and determine your equation pretty quickly. What happens if you divided each of these numbers by 10? What y value you get if you divide both by 10? I'm going to call it y with a little 10 here because I'm dividing by 10. What's the y value? Divide that by 10? 120. Not I didn't divide by 100, just by 10. And then if I divided the x by 10, I'll do the x on top. 600. Now, do you see that value anywhere? No, but I can see which one's going to be the right one. What if I then came back and divided this by 2? What if we divided each of these by 2? We've already divided by 10. What if I now divide each of these by 2? What do you now get? 360. Yeah. So by ratio, which one should be the correct answer? C. Looks like it's going to be the correct answer. Now, that was using a triangle. Did I choose the wrong one? There we go. Sorry. This was only selected correctly 48% of the time. So that's one way of doing it, just by ratios. I did it by ratios there. They gave us the x and y equations. That's why I did ratios of x and y. That makes sense how I did that? Just kind of looking at ratios. Okay. Now, another way you could do it is by parametric. They say the plane is moving at 306 feet per second. Now, which one's actually the plane? Is it the x path, the y path, or this h path? This is 306 feet per second, which means 306 feet every t seconds. So you just you multiply it by t. Okay, you with me so far? Is this an x, a y, or an h? H. Now, if you want to do it this way, what I would do is if I had to find the x, now what's the relationship between x and h? Is it sine, cosine, or tangent? Which one deals with x and h? Cosine. You could do cosine theta equals x over h. Now, right now I'm looking for the x equation over 306. And this would be a t, honestly, because it's feet per second. I could do it like this. Now, the angle, I would have to do an inverse tangent to figure out what that angle is. Let me do an inverse tangent real quick. So I'm showing you another way of doing this. It would be 1200. Sine is y, cos is x, tangent is. So I'm doing the y divided by x here. You could do it this way as well. 6,000, press enter. That's my angle. So I'm going to plug that in right there. So the last thing to get x by itself, you could insolve this. I'll just insolve it. Menu 3, 1. I'm going to say it's a cosine. Here's my angle. Right there, I'm going to put my angle in. Cosine equals, it's the x value over the h, which the h they gave us is 306. Now, if I do this, press comma x, look what number they give me. It's the answer. What do we get? 300. All I did is I took the cosine of the h. Okay, and the only thing different would be to find the y equation. What would you do differently when you insolve? You would do a sine. Sine would be y over the h of 306. So if I just did the same thing again, but change this to a sine, sin, you could also do it like that and get 60. So there's multiple ways of doing this problem. You could use your sine y, cos x, tangent y over x. You could do it like that. Either way, that's how you solve this problem. The one other way I hadn't shown you is you could do Pythagorean theorem to figure out what this is and divide it by 306 to see how many seconds it took the plane. Once you figure out how many seconds, you could divide that out. You could do it that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways to solve this problem. Just pick one of them. But if you use a formula, you should be able to come up with an answer.